Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Let's see. Sonia Johnson, thank you so much for being here first. Emma D. Connie Balmer. Hey, Connie Balmer. Fancy, fancy. Rodney Jackson. Let's see. Lydia Washington is here. Rhonda Bryant. Okay, let's see if we can get through in an hour. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, so what do we have here? Oh, okay, I see. Harry and Meghan are still living rent free in their heads. They are living 100% rent free. Don't cost them a thing. The only people that's paying are the royal rodents. They're the only ones that are paying, and probably Willie Leaks and a few other people in the family, but we'll get to that. Okay. Hello, Elaine Parker. Carlene Beckford, thank you so much for being here. Happy Saturday or Sunday morning, respectfully. There we go. Now, sometimes I see an amazing quote from Squatty, but as you know, we have derangers about, I know I can't believe it either, but there are the occasional derangers that are lurking in our spaces. And without permission, I don't want to send people over to someone's social media. However, the quotes are just, but anyway, I won't take credit for these quotes because I did not make them. But look at here. So, the number one, the derangers are jealous, mad, furious, angry because they heard or read that Prince Harry and the Duchess of Sussex covered their own travel expenses and financed their own trip to Colombia, and that they also did not arrive empty handed in Colombia. They brought gifts, which is exactly what they did when they went on their first outing to New York City, right? They brought gifts. They gave a gift to the Melba's restaurant, and that became a Christmas bonus at a time when the restaurant was struggling per global pandemic. And of course, just the Sussexes showing up was the reason why I went to Melba's, um, because I saw it on, I saw Harry and Meghan went, so I went. And and I'm sure there's a lot of squatties and non-squatties. I mean, people that, Melba's was doing great anyway, but um, there's nothing like a lot of positive, good, free publicity. And then number two, they want Archwell investigated. They want to know who donated money to Archwell as if it's any of their business, claiming that Harry and Meghan don't have money, blah, blah, blah. They are mentally so far gone, so far gone. Blech. Um, and really, it is not any of their money, but as the Sussexes are definitely on a lot of people's radar. And because basically they're just honest people, they're going to do everything above board. They are rich. They are rich. Um, I say this from time to time. Um, and I guess I'll just say it again. Nobody even realized that well, I won't say nobody realized, but it wasn't really on anybody's radar that Harry had this inheritance coming from his great grandmother. Um, thing is, some of those royal wills are sealed, right? And you just can't know everything. You're not allowed to. You never will. So there's that. And then, of course, they have invested wisely. They have gone with a firm that does things sustainably. They try to find investments that are in alignment with your values. So they have been investing. And well, and they've worked a lot. And it's nobody's business. But they want so desperately to say, aha, gotcha. There's no gotcha coming. There's two ways you could do things. You could do things the right way, above board and such, or you can be like someone that's running for president again, who inherited a lot of money and yet still had to try to find every manipulative, sneaky, grifting way to do things. And then again, now that I just heard my mouth say that, I have to remember cash for honors. Now, that's someone who would never, I don't know if there is any reality where cash for honors would ever have to want for money. And yet they seem to find ways to do things that are, you know, kind of sneaky and suspicious. Um, and let's just say if that person has been exposed, then that means that if Harry and Meghan were guilty of anything, and I do mean anything, we'd have heard about it a long time ago. But the truth is, they have been doing everything above board. They have some very wise legal and financial guidance to, maneuver their way through things. This is not just something they're doing as a hobby. This is their life's work, their philanthropy, their foundation, and there's no room for making mistakes. And that's it. And that's all. So if there was an aha or a gotcha moment, we'd have heard about it a long time ago, but there isn't. They were very honest to admit that they didn't take as much money in as they did the first year. Well, considering, I say this again, considering that they established this foundation during the midst of a global pandemic, or perhaps the bulk of the money, which I believe was their money anyway, um, went in the first year of operation, or, yeah, very soon after it started. Legs, of course. All right. Thank you for throwing me a lifeline because I need one. The British royal family gave the royal rota the inheritance story because they needed to deflect. The British royal family is receiving an increase for less work. Individuals and William isn't transparent. Thank you, Legs. Absolutely. There's that to remember. See, I told you, Legs always put us on the right path. While I'm sitting here talking about Harry and Meghan, it is important to remember that William has not been forthcoming with his information, even though his father, as Prince of Wales, in the same position, did just that, even though he didn't have to. So Charles didn't have to, but he did. William doesn't have to, so he won't. Just goes to show you where his priorities are. Thank you, Legs. And yeah, and of course, the inheritance story, that was a good way to deflect. Like, look at all this money Harry got. Look at he's getting all this money. He's always getting something for free. And meanwhile, the people who get anything and everything for just being alive, an accident of birth, um, yeah, you would still have to explain to me how that whole cash for honors thing happened. I mean, Charles was sitting on $1 billion duchy when all of this alleged money stuff happened. And then, of course, let's not forget Queen Elizabeth II with her offshore accounts, right? And so, since the Duchy of Lancaster has been inherited by Charles, what of his offshore accounts? I'm pretty sure that whatever the Queen had overseas, why does the Queen, or should I say, why did the Queen need offshore accounts? Why all of these? What was the name of that? The something papers where they found out that the Queen had all this money invested? This is what I don't get. There will never be a day when the sovereign will go hungry. There will never be a day when the sovereign is not living in the lap of luxury. What's with all of this clever money maneuvering stuff? What is the point of that? So far, they haven't had financial problems in that family for about 300 years, I'm guessing. So, what is the point of it? And they really filled up the coffers when Queen Victoria was on the throne. They really stuffed her pockets. They really stuffed her brassiere. She went from that young woman that took the throne to Dolly Parton. They had stuffed her brassiere so much, or her corset, or whatever they were stuffing. Um, oh, you know what? That makes sense. Just greedy, huh? Well, I remember the the Matrix Part Two, the movie The Matrix, and Neo said, "Well, what does he want?" And they said, "Well, what does any man with power want? More power." Yeah, I mean, this guy was already like in the most powerful position you could be, and he just wanted more power. I guess it is the ultimate aphrodisiac. Okay. And Elaine Parker, thank you so much for the super sticker and thank you for being here. Now, this is also from that very same squatty who definitely wants to set the record straight. You see there? Because they are starting to get on some people's nerves, mine included. And so they wanted to set the record straight. Oh, but let's do this first. Lex says, "Where are those missing jewels?" Will and Kitty, Carol. Yes, where are those missing jewels? Until there's a public outcry, there will be no accounting of those pieces. And you know, they have a treasure trove of jewels that have not seen daylight in like a century. But thank you so much for the super chat. Let's see. Please do not call it a royal tour because not only did Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, cover their own travel expenses and finance their own trip to Colombia, they didn't go empty handed. They brought gifts. They donated a number of drum sets, among other things. Okay, and I can barely see that. Let me see what I can do. That looks mighty small. Okay. See if I can make that bigger. There we go. Does that help? Oh, there we go. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle donated a number of gifts to the country uh, during their 4-day visit to Colombia at the invitation of Vice President Francia Marquez. The couple has stated their goal was to show up and do good no matter where we are in the world through their charity, the Archwell Foundation. Among the gifts, the Montecito-based couple donated a number of drum sets to Escuela Tambores de Calbildo and upgrades to a socio emotional gym at the Colegio La Giralda School. They will also donate funds that will be used to upgrade a secure environment for local children to explore, learn, and connect in San Basilio de Palenque. The couple said each of these initiatives underscore our commitment to making a difference and supporting programs that uplift and empower individuals and communities. Although Harry and Meghan were hit with accusations that their huge security bill cost the country over 1.5 million pounds, Colombian officials have insisted that the pair financed the whole trip themselves. And we talked about that yesterday by being shadowed, for lack of a better word, or being hosted, escorted, which is probably the better way to say it, by the vice president of Colombia. They were always, well, as far as from what I could see from their, time out and about, they were always within a certain a bubble of protection, a blanket of protection, because of their proximity to the vice president, which, of course, given the event, which was the very climax of the entire trip, uh, I think most of those places, if not all of those places, the vice president would have gone to those places or similar places like those anyway, as part of her position. Because not remember, not only is she the vice president, but I'm so embarrassed I don't have it handy. What was the other title that Francia Marquez? She's the vice president and something about culture or something, whatever it is. I believe that that would fall under the blanket of her responsibility to have those types of engagements anyway, right? So it wasn't as though she was doing something outside of her usual work. And it just all fits so well together. There's not many times in life where things just work, but this is one of those times where things just worked. And by doing it like that, by planning for a whole year, they were able to find a way for Harry and Meghan to visit with the least amount of impact on the the financial cost to the taxpayers, right? Yes, thank you. Ministry of Equity. Thank you. I was waiting for that. That's right. The Ministry of Equity. Thank you very much, Reba Henderson. Okay. So it continues right here. The El Pius reports that the ministry confirms the Sussexes covered their own travel expenses. A spokesperson from the ministry said the Duke and Duchess of Sussex financed their trip and that they are teamed with their own resources. International agencies are said to have helped contribute toward the cost. Now, I'm not sure what that means, but the Sussexes paid their own way. They traveled on their own dime. Okay. So again, thank you, Mystery Squatty, that brought this information forth. And yeah, I think it was a good idea. Oh, did I miss that one? Oh, you know what? I was over here and you all are still here. Sorry about that. Let me see. Harry and Meghan deserve a lot of applause. When Columbia invited Harry and Meghan, they accepted the invitation knowing about the financial situation in Colombia. Oh, that got cut off, didn't it? They something. But yeah, so it's always very important to make sure we set the record straight because there are so many people out there I went over to TikTok today and I was looking at some videos, and it didn't take long before I found some of the haters. And there's this one person who, and I would thank you not to mention her name, but she's either from South America or Central America, and she thinks of some of the worst possible things to say, and she just makes up stuff. And there were comments in her TikTok, "Girl, don't you ever get tired?" And someone else asked her, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I mean, she is just totally unhinged. And it's not like she doesn't know what she's doing. I mean, it is all very deliberate, this hatred that comes out of her mouth. And she thinks of everything she can possibly think of. And there's still a few of them that are still beating that hate drum. And then if that's not enough, there's one who has did an AI thing with Harry and Meghan's voices as though they're having a conversation. And I warned you guys about that AI, that people will be doing stuff like that. But if you ever come across that person, that is not Harry and Meghan. That is an AI thing, just like you've been seeing um, people saying that they can literally put together an entire scenario without um, the consent of certain people. And the thing is, you really do have to make a point to let people know that it's a parody. Otherwise, at some point somebody's going to get in a lot of trouble for that. I saw that. Yes, Taylor Swift donated a lot of food and stuff like that. She did a bunch of food banks or whatever. I saw that. Should be kind of embarrassing to the royal family. But the thing is, they use the excuse that if they do something like that, that it becomes political. Well, there are times when you really have to take a stand for the benefit of real people. You know, I okay, the whole thing about the queen's uncle being this Nazi collaborator or whatever they accused him of. I still wonder how true that is, especially when he's not here to defend himself, as he died back in the 1970s. And the reason why is because he had ideas about real people. He was a very intelligent man, no matter what they say. And the first time he got in really big trouble was when he went to a town where there had been a mining accident, or a lot of people were out of work. They were suffering really bad. And the governor or governor general, whoever the person was in the area, showed up with this Rolls Royce for him to ride in. And he told him, he said, "I cannot ride in that car. How can I go and visit these hungry, working class people, poor people, really? How could I get in a Rolls Royce and go visit people that are struggling?" So he declined the Rolls Royce and got into some little sedan and traveled like that. Also, when he would visit with working people, he would wear a bowler hat, which of course was something for the lower class to do, but that is how he preferred to engage with people, instead of dressing up to the nines and, you know, showing these people the lifestyles of the rich and famous. he would try to get on their level. And for some reason, that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So maybe he was guilty of those things. I don't know. But I think there was a lot of good reasons to get rid of him because he rather, well, I'll just say in some instances, he cared too much. That was very, very different from, but the government was like, you can't say things like that. And then there was the thing that he said when he saw a bunch of people that were in trouble. He said, something's got to be done. And that made all the papers. Well, that won over the public, but the government was furious with him. All he said is that something needs to be done. And they accused him of butting in, the queen's uncle, the one that abdicated. I can never remember. Was he George the whatever, Edward or George the something? I always confuse. But the point is, he spoke up, and they wanted him out of there. You know, there were a lot of people at that time that were interested in all of that stuff in the UK. So I we only hear one part of the story. Yes, the pictures exist. I believe the pictures are authentic, but it makes me wonder. Edward the Eighth, thank you, Edward the Eighth. I always doubt myself because I'm like, this sounds too much like Henry the Eighth. So I always doubt myself. So I'm just like, can't be that, can it? So anyway, don't want to get too off track here with one of my lengthy history things, but it's just one of those things I always wonder um, how much of the accusations are true. I feel like that they needed to kind of like they've done with Diana. I mean, it's bad enough that she died mysteriously in that tunnel in Paris, but it seems like first they take you out physically and then they want to destroy your reputation too. And they have not stopped destroying Diana's reputation. They have not stopped with this need to do everything that happened in that tunnel all over again with her reputation, which I think is sick. And her eldest child seems to be a part of it or just sits back passively and says nothing about it. Yeah, it's my mom. Do whatever you need. Let's see. Yeah, and they had to pay him a hefty allowance too. And did you guys know that Balmoral was his personal possession? They had to buy Balmoral back from him. Balmoral did not come with the throne. It came with the eldest child, but it did not belong to the throne. That was his property. Yep. Oh yeah, and they're trying to elevate Seabiscuit. Absolutely. You know, um, only because I've seen in real time how they have tried to destroy Princess Diana's memory, how they have tried with all of these documentaries and all of these books, they have literally tried to take her out again. And because of that, it makes me think twice about Edward the Eighth, the way he has been vilified. I just have to think more about that. That's all. I don't have all the facts, Mighty funny how all this information seems to come out last minute. Okay. So to continue with that, let me see. But many of those costs uh, of air tickets, Meghan's clothing, and other expenses were not borne by the Colombian government, as many believe, since the tickets were bought by the Dukes of Sussex themselves. Oh, this must be an article from Colombia. Well, anyway, or some other journalists down there who were interested in visiting our country. Although the Ministry of Equality will confirm in a statement that the costs were Diana Giraldo of 6 a.m. Hoi Poi Hoi, Hoi Poi Hoi Por Hoi went ahead and counted several data on the expenses of the visit of the Dukes of Sussex to the country. One of them, and those that, okay, this must be translated, has been talked about a lot, has to do with the cost of Markle's clothing, which they came to assure the Colombian government had hired. I don't know why this is so funny to me, had hired several designers to fulfill all their wishes every day, as though they were up into the late nights at their little sewing machines with candles on the window sills. And you know what I'm saying? Like it's something out of a Dickens novel. Like they were up all night sewing and, just how ridiculous. They went and found someone to cobble shoes for them at the last minute because she is a fan of Colombian. I'm going to see, what did I leave off? This turns out to be a gossip because the reality is the clothes she wore is her own because she is a fan of Colombian designs that she has had for a while. It was also a complete rumor to say that more than 8 billion, which of course, one Colombian dollar is like, I think it's 4,000 US dollars. So that's why the number looks so high. More than 8 billion would have been spent on this visit because the reality is that many of the expenses incurred as travel were paid for by international cooperation agencies. Nor is this true that the Colombian government would have paid for 3,000 security men for this visit, nor that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex charged fees for their coming to our country. So, yeah, we all know where this started. This is part of the whispering campaign from the um, tabloid media. This has the British tabloid media written all over it. Part of their whispering campaign, although I'm sure there's enough local people that would gladly hitch their wagons to anything like that, because, there are some people who do not like the Vice President Marquez and would like nothing better than to see her fail. That's why I said you all need to cover her with your prayers because there are so many people working against her, plotting and scheming against her. They want her to fail so desperately. I feel very strongly that to have representation for the very large Black population in Colombia is a good thing. There are too many times where we see nations that have a large African minority, or, as in the case of Brazil, a likely majority of people of African descent, and yet, it doesn't seem as though the media accepts them as whole and equal to the rest of the population. And of course, that goes for the government too. There's too many times where there's a lack of representation within the government. That is something that needs to stop. So that is why so many people have put all their hopes on the success of Vice President Marquez. And the easiest thing to do is to use the old angry black woman trope, or to use the corruption charges and all those kind of things. That is something that you just have to hold your breath and wait for it, because it's going to happen. Um, the easiest way to destroy someone's reputation is to start yelling corruption, corruption, corruption. Even if line by line you could prove that everything is above board, well, we see how they're treating the Sussexes. The tabloid media, they hopped onto that whole thing about the filing their paperwork or whatever that time. They hopped on that and started spreading it. What was it? It was I forgot what it was. It was a delinquency, and they started spreading that lie all over the place, like there was trouble with their foundation. Even though an explanation had been given, they didn't care. And then the mainstream media picked it up. That's what was so disappointing. Then the mainstream media picked it up. Yeah, always, always. Well, I always tell the story about Michelle Obama's mother, how the right wing had this lie going around that she was demanding payment from the federal government as the grandmother caring for her grandchildren, that she felt she was entitled to something. And it was a complete lie, but it was something that was made up during the election time to anger people against the Obamas, and against black women. It just bothered people that Michelle Obama's mother was living at the White House, caring for her grandchildren. There is no rule about who is welcome to live at the White House. None. The White House had an infestation of Trumps all over it, an infestation. Donald Trump held his brother's funeral at the White House. Did I say anything? No, because whoever's there as the resident, that's their call. Whoever the president is, that's their call. It's nobody's business. That's what comes with the house. You can order a Big Mac or a cheeseburger or whatever you want 24 hours a day, and they got to bring it to you. That's that. So, okay, let me move on. AP Weekend Pictures. Prince Harry and Meghan welcomed at the Della Zapata National Arts Center, Bogota, Colombia. But yeah, so Harry and Meghan made the AP Weekend Pictures. Of course they did. Matter of fact, they could have just used nothing but the Sussexes, and I don't think anybody would have noticed anything. I mean, except for there was a political convention going on. I think that would have caught their notice. Or was this for like really last week? But whatever the case is, um, yeah, I don't know which week it is. This week or was it last week? I guess it was for last week. So there was no convention. So, like I said, All Sussex all the time. Those other people didn't matter. All right. And Meghan Markle in Colombia with an elegant all-white ensemble. While the Patris News, which I believe is Greek, I believe this is from Greece. Um, um, Meghan wore a relaxed, breezy, all-white look that you'll definitely want to copy. Isn't that something? It's very elegant. Whatever Meghan wears always looks fantastic. But still, I'm always amazed at how everybody just goes gaga for everything she wears. But there is an explanation for that. It's no secret that Meghan Markle loves monochrome, and it's so to speak her stylistic trademark with which she tends to appear more and more often on her travels. At least, at last year's Invictus Games, she wore several cream toned outfits. And this year, she turned to that look again with an all white ensemble in Colombia. Less is more. That's one way to explain it. The other thing is, just knocked something down. The other thing is, fashion is something you buy, but taste is something you either have it or you don't. And there are some people that can put on some very expensive clothes and still, for lack of a better word, look rather homely, even if they're not unattractive. There are some people that are just homely acting. They just act homely, even if they're not. And so you can put on the best of whatever, and they would barely get noticed. And then there are some people that it's like a second skin. It just they wear it. They are wearing the clothes. The clothes are not wearing them. And that's just one of those rare things that some people, I don't care what it is, they're always going to look chic and elegant. I knew this girl, she could take a pair of scissors and start cutting and this and that, and always looked so chic and elegant. It was just her thing. Huh. I need this, I need that. She'd cut the what do you call it? The bottom off of a pair of sweatpants and put it with this and put this and that. And next thing you know, it was a runway look. Some people just have that, and some people don't. So that's just one of the several gifts that our Duchess has, is that she just knows how to pull things together. I mean, people just go crazy. She could be walking out of an office or whatever. What does she have on? Oh my. Where can I get that from? It's not just a talent, it's a gift. It really is a gift. So um some people just have that. That's all. And there you go. And let me see. Yeah, these were the photos that was in the article. No, I'm sorry. It's not the photos from the article. This is a sound bite. I almost missed it. I'm like, what am I looking at? Okay, so we're going to do a sound bite now. Some people just got it, and some people don't. And the Duchess of Sussex got it. Yes, she's got it. Okay, let me see here. So this is Jasmine is it Darya? Darya? She's on TikTok. She's on TikTok. So let me do this for you. and we'll talk after the thing.
The Royals wanted her to flop so bad. They wanted her to flop so bad. And what's so crazy is Meghan and Harry have actually done like 2 highly publicized, really big tours this year. The first being Nigeria, and most recently in Colombia. And I'm not like a royal expert, but in my opinion, they absolutely slayed both. I feel like they were super positive. They looked super in love. They had crazy schedule, like booked and busy the entire time. They helped with, Invictus Games specific events, as well as many, many other. These were like big jam-packed tours. Again, I don't know much about like royal family, royal life. I felt like these tours were similar to what they would have had to do in the royal family. And I think it's so great that they're still doing these tours, because it really shows like they were up for the job. Like it was never about the job. It was never a laziness. It was never like a lack of work, a lack of drive. They're doing it all. They're doing it with smiles on their faces. They're getting along, beautifully as it shows. Of course, there's still, haters of them. There always will be, unfortunately. But, and silly people calculating how much her wardrobe is worth, even though she's now in a position to where she can accept gifts from brands and whatever, and I'm sure she does. But I loved this tour for them. I did. And I think it's a really interesting time for them to be touring like this, considering King Charles and Kate Middleton's recent diagnosis. I almost feel like they're like taking some initiative. I'm sure there's going to be conflicting views on this, but I almost feel like they're doing these big tours because they still consider themselves to be a part of the royal family, especially Harry in some ways. Like that's all he's ever known. And again, I think they were always down for these responsibilities, and they know that people want to see tours like this from the royal family, because it kind of shows that like they like work, you know. But of course, obviously, Kate, no one is expecting Kate or Charles to do anything like this right now. So I don't know. I don't think they're necessarily like fully doing it to like, take pressure. I don't know. It's just a thought I have, but I love this for them. I really do. I thought Meghan looked so chic the entire time. I feel like it was a really successful tour, and I feel like anyone with a brain cell like also agrees with that. I just love this for them. Look at them. I love this look from her. I thought she had some really cute looks, and I think Meghan Markle haters just like
well, she doesn't know a lot about the royal family and how stuff works, as she has admitted. But the thing is, it made a huge impression. Now, I looked through some of her videos from the past just to make sure she's not jumping on the bandwagon, and she's always had a positive outlook about the Sussexes. Um, but she doesn't post about them every day or every week or even every month. She posts about them every so often. So just imagine that she's seeing them the way that most people see them, right? That's how she sees them, is the way that most people see them. So um cheers to her. I'm glad she's paying attention. I'm glad she had something positive to say. And, like I said, I'm over there, I'm looking at this video, and I'm looking at a few other things. And then all of a sudden, all the haters, so furious. They were literally making up things. And by the way, Alicia Kay, she made a video about this idea that there was something um, provocative going on during the trip, and she completely explained it. Um, which I saw it, I just ignored it. I wasn't going to say anything about it because I told you some stuff. Some things I don't talk about because it gets to be too upsetting. But she did, and she did a fantastic job explaining it, and it just made so much sense. And it's just one of those things where they have been playing with the edits and such and trying to make things into something that they're not. So if you get a chance to see that video, make sure you do, because it did explain everything very well, and it's just one of those things. We This is why we push back, because there's so much incentive for some really crooked, twisted people to make up stuff like Angela Levin, crooked, twisted people. Okay. Oh yeah, we all love. Oh, you know what? I just realized her name is also Jasmine. I just realized that. I Wait a minute. Is that right? Yeah, both of them are named Jasmine. Duh. I only just caught on to that. Okay, so let me do this next sound bite and then we'll talk after the fact. Just noticed that.
Wanted her to flop so bad. They wanted her to flop. The Royals
Okay,
wanted her to flop so bad.
that's not it. Let me. Oh, you know what? I see what I did here. Never mind. I see what I did. Let me do this again. Uh, okay. Hopefully, I still have it. And I love the well, now I love both Jasmines, but the other Jasmine, the one that you see on the screen now, um, oh, she. Oh my God! I hope I can find it. Let me see. Mm, okay, this might be a thing. Cause maybe I didn't save it. Fudge. Pardon my language, but I hope I did. Cause it was so good. I don't want you to miss it. Okay. Let me think. How can I find that one? Probably like I did before, right? Okay. Tell you what, I don't think I saved it, which I would have needed to have saved that to share it with you, and I don't believe I did. Oh man, that was such a good one. Okay, give me a second. Colombia. Yeah, and this one is actually different from the one that I usually play. So if you're thinking, oh, well, we've seen that before anyway, nope, it's different. So I'm going to just retrace my steps and see if I can just happen to find it. If not, it's too bad. I'll just try to make sure I have it for you next time if I cannot retrace my steps to it. So far, it looks like I'm walking the right path, but not. Oh, there's that mean lady. Oh, I cannot stand her. She's so evil. Oh no. Okay. As I scroll through, that mean lady, I didn't realize how ugly she was until just now. Oh my God. I keep coming across her disturbed face. Okay, never mind. It's useless. I did not save it. So unfortunate, but I did not. Cannot believe it. Okay, so let's go on. This, of course, is Daniel Martin. Daniel Martin is a longtime friend of Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Well, he was doing makeup for um, um, Vice President Harris. And another person that I think maybe he may have done her makeup, although don't um, don't hold me to it. I think he may have done Michelle Obama's makeup only because Michelle Obama went with a very minimal, fresh look. So that is why I'm thinking maybe, because that's something he seems to be very good at is giving you a very natural, clean look. So it looked very much like his work, but I cannot be for certain. But anyway, let's just say once again, I mean, I can't promise you this means anything, but it's good to know that our Duchess just happens to have friends in high places, and of course, that she's close to people with friends in high places, and that she has friends in high places. So, just saying, it's good to know. Doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it doesn't hurt. So, you know, how's she doing? Oh, she's okay. Well, tell her I said hi. All right. Okay, Madam Vice President. Now take a look here. This is the New York Times. The paper had this article here on the left side, right? And of course, when I look at it, the first thing I think of is representation matters. And so there's this little girl of color, maybe mixed race, whatever. This little girl who could be anybody's little girl, white, black, Asian, doesn't matter. But this little girl sees someone that is also a woman very much like she may grow up to be one day, running for president. So I think it's very sweet. I think it's very, very sweet. So there you can see it kind of stretched out and everything. Or, well, on the right side, that's the best you can get, is right there, where you could actually see the details a lot clearer. But I think it's really cool. And then this, wait, what is that? So irrelevant. 1.2 million views, 79.5 thousand likes, and you should see the comments. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, it is Princess Meghan for you derangers. Oh, that was also, was that? Yeah, I think that was from a TikTok video. Not the one that I'm looking for, of course. But the thing is, this was a TikTok video that got a lot of positive feedback. A lot of positive feedback. They are really, really basking in the glow of success this week. Okay. And then there's this. What do you know? What was Harry saying? It's not safe. Crackdown on racist hate speech. UN tells UK. Crackdown on racist hate speech. The United Nations has urged the United Kingdom to take action to curb racist hate speech, including by politicians. In a report published on Friday, it noted the persistence of hate speech published in mainstream media, online, and spread by politicians and public figures. The United Nations says it was particularly concerned about racist acts and violence by far right and white supremacist groups, such as during recent riots across England and Northern Ireland, fueled by misinformation and anti immigrant sentiment. A government spokesperson said it had taken the toughest action to ensure all involved in the violent thuggery will face the full force of the law. Well, I have to say, I looked at some of the judgments that were being rendered against some of these people, including the shoplifters, and I was surprised at how they were being dealt with. If you ask me, in some respects, I think that they're actually getting getting a tougher sentence than they would probably get in the United States. In the United States, the big difference is over here, you would risk ruining your reputation. You would risk finding another job, right? You might become extremely unemployable. But in the UK, people don't seem to worry about it as much. The idea that they may be found out or something like that. It doesn't seem to be as much repercussion for people. Like, for instance, Tony, what's his name? Danny Baker, with that baby come home from the hospital thing where he compared Archie to a primate. Um, that would have been someone who would be very unemployable in the United States, but he got to keep his job. So it seems to me like the punishment in court is very, precise. I mean, when they lock you up, they lock you up. So I was impressed by that. But the idea that it doesn't really ruin your reputation, that bothers me. Ideally, there would be consequences from both directions. But yeah, very interesting. Okay, let me see. Still got some more to cover. Gosh, I wish I could find that video. Oh, I got this one to share with you. Um, and it was actually in the same thread as the thing I just showed you here about the crackdown. Okay. Let me play this one for you. Now, this might be upsetting to some, but he said what he said, right? So I'm just going to let you hear it. Okay. All right. Are we ready? Okay, here we go. Okay, how come that's not making any sound?
Justice Clark, white.
Okay.
The Lord President, white. The Lord Justice Clerk, white. Every High Court judge, white. The Lord Advocate, white. The Solicitor General, white. The Chief Constable, white. Every Deputy Chief Constable, white. Every Assistant Chief Constable, white. The head of the Law Society, white. The head of the Faculty of Advocates, white. Every prison governor, white. And not just justice, the Chief Medical Officer, white. The Chief Nursing Officer, white. The Chief Veterinary Officer, white. The Chief Social Work Advisor, white. Almost every trade union in this country headed by people who are white. In the Scottish Government, every Director General is white. Every chair of every public body is white. That is not good enough. The Lord President, white. The Lord Justice Clerk, white. Every High Court judge, white. The Lord Advocate, white. The Solicitor General, white. The Chief Constable, white.
The point being is that there does not seem to be enough representation from non-whites. Increasingly, a lot of the European countries, and of course the United States, there is a multicultural melting pot. I mean, there is literally an ethnic melting pot, and yet there are some positions that seems to be so far out of reach. And the only way to break this idea that a person of color is in the service class or the labor class, or if you're this tone or that tone, then surely you're a common laborer. The only way to break that cycle is to have people in these key positions. Also, the only way you can be sure that a person is going to be treated fairly is to have more representation. Now, that's why this next election is very important. Donald Trump only had 2 black people in his White House, one of which was, what's her name? Omarosa. She wasn't there for long. She was just some kind of freelance advisor. And then there was that Ben Carson, who was over housing and development or whatever. In other words, public housing czar, HUD, home, whatever, you know what HUD is. Anyway, that was it. That was it. Otherwise, it was all white people making decisions about a country that is nearly 50% ethnic minorities, nearly 50%. And by the year 5050, there will be less white people in the United States than there are people of color. And yet, at this, what was it, 2016, 2017 to 2021, really, we had a White House full of nothing but white people. That was it. Dishing out favors and alike to whoever he wanted to. How does something like that happen? If you don't believe me, take a look at some of the people that served. Take a look at all of them. They were all white. That's what he's talking about. And so when you have situations where a person who is non-white or non-Christian in the workplace, and they complain that they're being mistreated, like, for instance, the black woman that was recruited to be a part of the British military. Remember, we talked about that not long ago. And look at how she was mistreated. They would openly say things like lynching her. Let's tar and feather her. I'm from the US. I know what that conversation is like. And if people feel like they can get away with it, they'll do it. Now, currently, we have one black Supreme Court justice, one Latino Supreme Court justice. We also have a black chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and we have a black um, defense secretary, both of which are the only two people that are just beneath the president when it comes to our military. Our military was desegregated after World War II thanks to Harry Truman. So all of this stuff matters. So when I heard that, I was like, I was shocked, but that's what he said. Everybody, all of these high ranking officials, and they mean to keep it that way if they can. They really do mean to keep it that way. That has to stop. That has to end. Yeah, right. If you say so. If you say so. I can't fix my mouth to say that name. But if you say so, we know where he caucus. Like I said, we got one black person in the United States Supreme Court. Nice try anyway. Um yeah, I don't count him. That's the matter of fact, I think that character in what was the name of that movie? Was it Get Out? That was the name of the movie, right? Get Out. I think that character from Get Out, remember the one that had the bloody nose? That's Clarence Thomas. Get out. Uh, yes, not all skin folks are kin folks. I don't count that one. You count them if you want to. I don't count them. Anyway, and there you have it. Harry to marry into gangster royalty. That's actually from an American gossip rag. Thin blue blood of Spencer, pale skin and ginger hair with some rich and exotic DNA. Well, we all know that was Rachel Johnson, Boris Johnson's sister. And then, of course, almost straight out of Compton. And it goes on and on. And believe me, it would have been very different. It would have been very different for a national newspaper in the United States to the Star is a weekly thing that you get at the supermarket. Nobody looks at that as news. But unfortunately, a lot of people think the Daily Mail and all those other things are the same as the New York Times or the Washington Post or some of those other ones. Like I said, we got one black Supreme Court justice. Okay, now let's get on with this one here. Let's see. Okay, it's kind of small, but take a look. Royal exclusive. King open to Harry's truce after spiritual guidance. I repeat, the king is open to Harry truce after spiritual guidance. First of all, I don't know that Harry ever declared, let's have a truce. Harry declared he's waiting for an apology, right? King Charles has received advice from faith leader that has led him to contemplate repairing his relationship with Prince Harry. The Mail on Sunday has learned the monarch has taken spiritual nourishment from his discussions with religious leaders and is now more open to the idea of a what is that rapper reproachment reproachment, yeah, okay, reproachment, rap a rap approachment, a reproachment. Now they're gonna have like a rap duel. Are they both gonna be rapping? Huh, that'd be interesting if they did, if they settled things like they did old school by rapping and then breakdancing, which I think we all know who would win if there was a breakdancing contest, because I have seen Charles breakdance, and let me tell you, he is beyond reproach when it comes to his breakdancing. As a matter of fact, if you get near him, he's subject to haul off and smack you. Not on purpose, just from his dancing technique. But anyway, healing the rift would require the king to put aside his anger over Harry's deeply wounding public comments. Charles is saddened by the separation, which has meant he has, oh God, I hate to say it, but okay, here goes. That means he has not seen his grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet, as if he really wanted to, since June of 2022. A source said Harry will always be Charles' much loved son. He has faith that Harry could return. The door will always remain open to him and his family. He does not want years of discord and disharmony clouding his reign. Uh-huh. Now, it has been reported that Charles is still very ill. Okay. So let's take that into account. Also, the royal family has just had a spanking. They have just had a royal spanking. That trip to Colombia, as much as they have tried to disparage and degrade and deny the success of Colombia, and much in the way that they were doing with Nigeria. I don't think that this is a truce as much as it is waving the white flag. It seems more like a surrender. Now, I could say that because I have, no words involved with whether or not they speak to each other. However, as a layperson, I'm just going to say it looks more like a surrender because people are talking and people have said plenty, including um, Professor Tim Wilson. If he said that, and some other people, and these, he is a royalist, he is a monarchist. I won't say that he's in love with the institution, but he respects the institution. He wants to see it successful. There's a lot of people that want that institution to survive. And I get it. It is part of the national identity. But in order for it to survive, it's going to have to make some changes. And I said a long time ago, Harry and Meghan has given that institution a template on how to conduct these royal tours. I said that in response to the Caribbean tour. And I cited the African tour as a way to proceed in the future. Instead of making it about these state dinners and occasions and such, there's always room for that kind of thing. But first and foremost, go and be amongst the people. Go to these groups and agencies and these patronages that you have and talk to them first. Instead of doing, what was that, Will and Kate? They went scuba diving. They went, they went out in the forest and drank some concoction. They posed next to a statue of Bob Marley. They watched an exhibition football game. I don't know where the philanthropic component of that is. Where is that? As far as I know, they didn't bring any gifts. They just showed up. and took. So, you know, it was a missed opportunity and there was no way it was going to work. I realize that now. I was rather naive and I thought that it was going to be like a Hollywood movie, a rom-com. I just did not want to believe that William was capable of such a thing. Not because it wasn't mentioned, because I didn't hear it at that point. But when it was made clear to me, and then I saw all the copycat stuff, then it was like you couldn't ignore it at that point. And I'm telling you, it was one of those copycat situations that every time I think about it, it makes my blood boil because of the mockery that was being made, because it seemed to be part of a running joke. And there were several of those occasions, but it's just one in particular that would get me on a watch list if I really said how I felt about it. I would probably go on a watch list. I don't want to be on a watch list. But it's childish. It is so childish. And at any given time, the royal family could say, listen, you are not representing us well. This is not in our best interest. It's childish. But then how could you tell the tabloids that saying certain things is childish when you have the next king actively participating in it, leaking and briefing? And educated people know that that's exactly what's been going on. And so over time, fewer people pointed the finger at Harry or pointed the finger at Meghan, and they started looking toward Kensington Palace. It was made clear in the docuseries. It was made clear in Spare. And then, of course, in whatever roundabout way, Endgame spelled it out. Kensington Palace. But you can never, ever forget about Godzilla, who seems to be at the center of everything else. Everything else. And even though nobody talks about the fact that Jeremy Clarkson went to a Christmas party the day before or the evening that he wrote that awful thing about Meghan, but that's exactly what happened. Piers Morgan said that people in the institution have thanked him. Even though he stood outside of Kensington Palace, he really should have been standing outside of Clarence House, if you ask me. He really should have stood outside of Clarence House. Dan Wooten could go and stand outside of Kensington Palace, but Piers Morgan, he needs to stand outside of Clarence House because that is where a lot of his guidance comes from. That's where a lot of it comes from. But long term, the strategy that they have won't work for two reasons. Number one is the Sussexes are just too damn good. And number two of the biggest failures in the history of that institution are going to the throne next. And they are useless. They are useless. They need someone to distract from how useless they are. So maybe they are trying to hatch some kind of plan to do a half in or half out. And even scarier, the idea that they might try to lure them back over there somehow. And trust me, there's no Harry without Meghan, so that's out of the question. Harry's not going anywhere without Meghan. But if you ask me, this admits defeat. This is an admission of defeat. If that information, if that story has come from Clarence House, that's an admission of defeat. And it's only admitting to what everybody knows to be true. All of those secret weapons they got in the family are useless, boring. Harry and Meghan had not one, but 2 royal tours. That's what they were. They were royal tours by royals. Acting for the palace or not, they were royals on tour. And they were flipping phenomenal. And even with the haze of all the misinformation, all the lies, people could still see it for what it is, a success. And they know it. Nobody cares if Charles and Camilla go someplace. Nobody cares. They could show up or not show up. You'll always be able to round up a busload of people to look interested. But that the full media across the globe is talking about a straw hat, that's all Sussex. That everybody in the world is talking about Harry's salsa, Meghan's Spanish language, that's all Sussex. Yeah, the Jamaica trip actually did, as short as it was. I mean, we only saw them for what, that evening, but it was great. It was great. Everybody talked about it. What they really want to say is, well, they can't go to any European countries, but then again, they went to Cologne. I'm sorry, not Cologne, but to Dusseldorf. They went to The Hague. That was a big sensation. When Meghan went to Dusseldorf, it was all about the outfits, all of the interactions. Meghan gave a speech. Harry's speech. And of course, the athletes. I mean, there was that too. So let's say they had 2 big tours, royal or otherwise, Jamaica, The Hague, Dusseldorf, couple of trips to New York, 3 to be exact, I think. 3. They had those 3 trips to New York. And then, a couple of places here and there. Oh, Canada. I almost forgot about Canada. Yeah. That was worth a whole week of news, wasn't it? And I'll add one more thing. If Charles wants to be remembered in a positive light, he had better make up with his son. He had better make up with his son if he wants to be remembered in a positive light, because the rare interactions between Charles and William, rare. How many times have we seen them together? Is it just me, or the times spent with William seems to be rare? Did anybody else notice that? I would say Charles spent way more time with his mother than William has spent time with him. He gets sick and William disappears. As a matter of fact, when he first got sick, he didn't want William anywhere near him. And then this whole cock and bull story about how close Charles and Kate, how close they are. Seriously? Charles and Kate close? Next, they're going to say, oh, the queen knew that the queen thought she was lazy and useless. And probably, well, you know what? I'm not even going to say that William kept Kate away from the rest of the family. Nobody wanted to go near her anyway. Yes, 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 yes. The money shot. The money shot that would help secure his legacy. That would really help to secure his legacy. And maybe that's the strategy, is on his way out to make it sound like his name is really Martin Luther Windsor. That's what he wants to do. He wants to go out looking like Martin Luther Windsor. That old Martin Luther Windsor, he loves black children. He loves black children. He loves his black grandchildren. That Martin Luther Windsor. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he wants to go out like Martin Luther Windsor. Uh-huh. He wants to take little Lily's hand and tap dance up and down the steps like Bill Bojangles and Shirley Temple. That's what he wants. He wants to go tap dancing up and down the steps like Bill Bojangles and Shirley Temple. That's what he wants to do. He wants to take that big giant hand and stick it out and grab Lily's little hand and take Lilybet tapping up and down the steps so people will talk about what a great grandfather he is. Mm-hmm. That'll do it. I'm telling you, if those kids ever got near him, all of a sudden you're gonna see Lily disappear and come back with some tap shoes on. You're gonna see little Lily disappear and come back with some tap shoes. Now, Grandpa? Oh yes, now Lily. And next thing you know, they're gonna be ba-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. That's what he wants. And then, of course, and then, of course, Camilla can start blowing into that jug like Uncle Jed on the Beverly Hillbillies. She started blowing in that jug. Wouldn't that be something? How shallow. I can see right through this ruse. You know what? In between the Nobel Peace Prize and I guess Travelers, we'll just have to see if Harry's got some extra time. How about that? If they don't call him over to Oslo to get his Nobel Peace Prize, we'll see if he's got some time to visit. We'll see. But yeah, that's what I think. Somebody is waving the white flag. To me, it is an admission of defeat. It's an admission of guilt and defeat. Somebody is feeling very, very defeated right now. And not because they thought of it themselves, but probably people have been coming to him and saying, listen, Willie ain't worth, uh, hmm, what adjective can I think of? Well, anyway, Willie's not really up to par. He's not up to it. There is no reason, vacation or no vacation, there's no reason why William is nowhere to be found unless he's sitting around plotting his ascension to the throne. That's all I could think of, is that he's plotting his ascension to the throne. Otherwise, where is he at? And this whole thing about them on vacation, uh, he could have made a public appearance in Scotland. William does not like Scotland. Scotland does not care for William. William refuses to wear those his kilt. He refuses to wear a kilt. No proper sovereign goes to Scotland and refuses to wear a kilt. But William, I've never seen a photo of him wearing a kilt. Probably not since he was a kid.
Yeah, I've been visiting around today. Belfast this morning.
Well, such is the reign of William the, what would he be? William the fifth or sixth or something like that. William the third, William the Terrible. Such is William's reign. That's how it's gonna start off, and that's probably how it'll end. And I wouldn't put too much into those kids when they get to the, age to do royal service. I wouldn't put a whole lot on them because they are sitting back and they are watching everything. And either they'll, you know, really tuck into it, or they'll be trying to figure out, how do I get out of this before it even gets started? I want to go out to California with Uncle Harry and Auntie Meg. I want to go out to California. Especially when they're old enough to see their favorite celebrities. Oh, they're going to want to get out there bad. Poor William. He can't help it. He was born with a silver foot in his mouth. Yeah, I can't help but think that this means something. This means something. And it's going into the Sunday paper. That's the Sunday paper article. God, that doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good for Charles. I'll say that. It doesn't sound good for Charles. It seems rather desperate. Oh well, they'll work it out. It's none of my business. I'm here for Harry and Meghan. I look out for Harry and Meghan. And the rest of them, they can go to blazes. Mm-mm. Meghan Markle pays tribute to Colombian fashion and indigenous design inspiration in Joanna Ortiz Navajo weaver maxi dress with Prince Harry in Bogota. Meghan Markle embraced artisan style design that is on her second public appearance during her visit to Colombia on Thursday, accompanied by her husband, Prince Harry. The Duchess of Sussex attended that is a ceremony at the is that Delia Zapata National Arts Center in Bogota, where she wore a maxi dress by Colombian designer Joanna Ortiz. Markle's dress featured a Navajo weaver's pattern created with metallic threads. Oh, no wonder it had kind of a sheen to it, contrasting with a blouse. Blush pink panel, blush pink panel, and burgundy details. The ensemble included a cutout in a in the bodice. Oh, that's a little triangle at the top. And a front slit. She accessorized her look with lavin earrings and a Cartier watch and bracelet, Jimmy Choo shoes. One of the largest Native American tribes in the United States, the Navajo tribe, developed its own weaving textile tradition, which has been integral to their culture for centuries and is mainly known for its geometric solid patterns as seen in Markle's dress, which, I love that pattern. That is beautiful, isn't it? That is beautiful. And I love the little sheen that it has to it. Every time she turned, you could see a little bit of a like satiny sheen. Oh, yeah. She wore the gold one to the Women of Visions Award. $2,100. That's not bad. I mean, for the quality, you can't beat that. $2,100. Take a check. Take a check. And how about this lucky guy right here? How about him? He got a chance to dance with the Duchess of Sussex, and dance they did. Ooh, they was getting down, wasn't they? They were getting down. As a matter of fact, hey! Hey! I love that. I love that. So much fun. And all of those royal reporters are so upset, and Harry and Meghan are just renting space in their head for absolutely nothing. I mean, they got like 1,700 square feet, fireplace, hot tub on the deck, um, stainless steel appliances, Viking. What's that other company? Uh, 4-car garage, driveway. I mean, just and all of that's for free. All of that's for free. Or do they have a massive mansion in Montecito? And according to what's his name, the photographer, the old bitter old man, put him on one of those private jets. He said, "Yeah, they got a fleet of private jets." He must be confusing them with the other royals. But anyway, they are absolutely
Bitter. And somebody needs to say it. Bitter. Bitter, bitter, bitter.
they are so bitter, bitter, bitter. Absolutely.
Bitter. And somebody needs to say it. Bitter. Bitter, bitter, bitter.
Yes, they are. uh, I have not stopped smiling. You know that, don't you? I have not stopped smiling. Now, where are the clowns? There ought to be clowns. Well, Gary is here. Uncle Gary. Y'all, I think he's back on the baking soda. Uncle Gary is having it large. Kate's Middleton's Uncle Gary Goldsmith dances wildly. What is it? Wildy? Shouldn't it be wildly? Anyway, in unbuttoned shirt during Ibiza beach party following his Celebrity Big Brother stint. Isn't that something? That's right. He then opened up his shirt, deployed that airbag that he calls a stomach. Look at there. He's got. It just goes to show you that even though he's standing on a chair, he's quite safe because he already deployed the airbag. He's already taken measures to prevent injury by deploying the airbag. Anyway, somebody back on that stuff. Somebody allegedly has a Georgia pine. Dances with powder. Yeah, somebody is obviously misusing the baking soda again. Oh well, allegedly. And then of course he's wearing a Versace ensemble. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm not here to body shame anybody, but what are the chances that the House of Versace had Uncle Gary in mind when they designed that two piece? Huh? Do you think that the designer, like right now, if you wanted to break Donatella Versace's heart, all you have to do is send her this picture of Uncle Airbag standing on top of that chair, dancing like a fool, and that would probably. I think this could actually bankrupt the House of Versace. I think this could actually bankrupt the company. This image right here, which goes against all of the norms that that country has set with international standards of beauty, vigor, youth, all of that has been completely violated. Next thing you know, he'll be standing outside of Abercrombie and Finch with his shirt off. Uncle Gary auditions for Abercrombie and Finch. Just stand outside the store. I'd like to see that actually. What if he can wear it? Anybody could, not should, could, right? Got definitely a difference. Not everybody should, but everybody could. Oh, Michael Kors has taken over Versace. Oh, okay. But still, Donatella, with all of her memories of what her brother built, it would be so upsetting. But leave that baking soda alone. But leave that baking soda alone. Now, you guys do not get upset. Do not get upset. I know. I know. When I look at them, I feel like, well, you all remember the Three Stooges, right? I feel like my name is Mo, and I need to explain some things to Curly and Larry and Shemp. That's what I feel like. I feel like my name is Mo. Um, anyway, but it's not Mo, and that would probably get me in trouble for even thinking what I'm thinking. But they really, oh, I can't stand them. Oh, I can't stand them. They always got that look. Every time Harry and Meghan come up, they always look so disgusted and judgmental. Anyway, let me do this and get it over with. Don't worry, it's nothing bad. Now the thing is, I don't have an actual date when this premiered, so I'm gonna play it and it may have been recent, maybe not, but somebody shared
Teenagers
it.
become all right, next up, the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle. We can exclusively reveal a new partnership Markle is involved with. Her and Prince Harry's Archewell Foundation is working with the Ving Project to help teenagers become philanthropists and teach them the joy of giving. So the program will invite teenagers aged 14 to 18 to nominate a woman who has inspired them and defied life's hardships. And if chosen, they'll be able to give that person a $1,000 grant. It's part of a $1 million giving movement from Archewell and Bing. Markle says she hopes that this program will, quote, empower young adults to embrace the gift of giving at an early age. All right, next up, the debt.
Okay. Um Now I don't know if they were making this face because she hadn't mentioned Harry and Meghan yet. So maybe they were just completing their thoughts about something else. I'm not saying that this look was for them. I'm not saying it wasn't, because based on their past history, and you know what gets me though is you got three people that, two of which seem like they are of African descent, and possibly three, and then you have the blonde. And usually, when they are being so rude about Harry and Meghan, the blonde is the only one that does not participate, as far as I know. It's the other three, which really hurts, annoys, and disappoints me. That's why they say not all skin folks are kin folks, especially the one on the left and the one on the right. Those two are particularly vicious when it comes to Harry and Meghan. And why they felt the need to co sign with that family over there, I'll never know. But I don't even bother with them. Sometimes I could be having a really good day and they'll pop up on the TV and I feel like I could just vomit. Projectile vomiting. I mean, just a big wash of stomach fluids and undigested food all over my computer because they show up. I cannot stand them. I cannot stand them. And yet they are so rude and making faces and stuff. And also the one on the left, you would think that he wouldn't get involved with all that snarky stuff. He's the worst of them, if you ask me. Need to man up. But the one on the right, she can be pretty bad too. Yeah. I mean, number one, she's an American, right? And they don't do all of that kind of stuff for other people they talk about. They don't do that for all of the I've never seen them do that with other women that they talk about. But when it's Megan, it seems like all of a sudden they just so annoyed. Yep. They get so bothered. Oh God, we got to talk about Harry and Meghan. Ugh. Grow up. Oh well, look at what they have at the gift shops at the Buckingham Palace and the like. You see that? There's some postcards. There's some beads. Look at there. There's some more postcards. And yes, they even have the nerves to sell. You know, I think sending that red postcard, that picture of Charles, I think that they should probably put a warning about sending that to elderly people and people that may be suffering, emotionally. And also, have you noticed that the postcards on the left, it kind of looks like 1992 all over again, don't it? When you look at the postcards on the left, for some reason, I'm starting to think about 1992. 1992 is a year that I shan't look back upon with undiluted pleasure. It was and it's horribilis. It was the worst of times. It was the worst of times. My beloved Windsor Castle burned to the ground, and I had absolutely no insurance. None. New insurance. But that's okay. The people shall pay for it. Noblesse oblige. And all that stuff. Yeah, those postcards look like they right out of 1992. I mean, she didn't already lost the castle. Are we going to take out a bridge, a palace, and a clock tower too? We'll see. After all, it happened back in 1992. Now, those are nice, except for the one in the middle at the top and the one on the left that looks nothing like that bozo that's on the throne now. But those are nice. You guys, I have oh, look who's back together, y'all. And you know what? I was hoping that they were going to pull things together. After a year, or maybe less than a year, of wandering the desert, he's been allowed back into the fold. Um, the thing that's so pathetic is that the people love Queen Mary more than they love him, and he's the king. He is the blood relative, and they love her more. So when you got those kind of odds against you, you better straighten up and fly right. You better get over your little midlife crisis and straighten up and fly right. Because the people do not like you. They think he's a bit of a buffoon. I think if they could take a vote, they would put her on the throne and have him as a consort. Yeah, they make a lot of money from Harry and Meghan. It's $1 billion industry. Harry and Meghan is $1 billion industry. and I want them to have as big a piece of pie as they can get. I want them to profit off of, and this reminds me, I haven't mentioned this in quite some time, but years ago, Oprah Winfrey, who is one of the smartest people I can imagine, um, for years, the Inquirer, the Star, People Magazine, all of the publications made money from the likeness of Oprah Winfrey, from the adventures of Oprah Winfrey. So, Oprah Winfrey, at a time when the publishing industry was near death, decided to put her face on her own magazine, and they called it O for Oprah. That was brilliant because if all those people are making money from your image week after week after week, O Magazine was selling when other magazines were folding. Now, since then, most magazines are pretty much, decimated. But still, during the huge start of the decline of published magazines, Oprah Winfrey was making a profit with nobody on the cover except for her. There was like maybe only two covers without her, and one cover where she shared the cover with, I think, Ellen DeGeneres. But other than that, that was absolutely brilliant. So that's why I want Harry and Meghan to make as much money as their pockets can hold because other people are making money off of them. People that are not kind to them. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the King and Queen of Denmark. That is Queen Mary of Denmark, and that's what's his name? I forgot his name. That's the one who likes to spend time in Spain. Yeah, that's the one who believes that the rain in Spain stays mainly on the plains. Him. Yep. I forgot his name. What is his name? Frederick. Thank you so much. King Frederick of Denmark. Okay, you guys, I got some bad news for you. I got some really bad news, and this is what we'll finish with today. Um, there was an eruption of a volcano, and anyway, some people got hurt. Now, why am I laughing? That's because that eruption happened. Oh, let me see here. When did that eruption take place? Such a sad story. But because of the temperatures, this was as close as they could get. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius. Yeah, the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. It happened, oh gosh, what year was that? It was AD 79. 79 AD, the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. Of many eruptions of Mount Vesuvius, a major strat volcano in southern, that means an active volcano, I think. Anyway, it was on this day back in AD 79 that Mount Vesuvius erupted. Yes, August the 24th, Mount Vesuvius erupted. (1,949 years ago). Here's what happened hour by hour, as told by somebody who witnessed it. Well, you can see that dark mark right there on the map. That is the area that was affected. but the entire city of Pompeii was wiped out. And still, even today, they are excavating and finding human remains. Some of the places were buried more than 20 feet deep. And did you know recently they found human remains that still had hair and some skin tissue intact? Um, it was like, not to gross you out, but it was one of the ears and some of the person's face. It was still attached. This person had died before the eruption and was buried in a tomb, which is unusual because most people at that time were cremated. I mean, who died before the eruption, they were cremated. But yeah, so this is the anniversary of the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in AD 79, almost 2,000 years ago. And a lot of the artwork and furnishings and stuff, because the furniture was, buried in that ash, it actually froze the wood in time where the wood would have normally have degraded and disappeared over time. The wood was still in place. So, yeah, this is the anniversary of Mount Vesuvius. And today, you could actually wander through the streets of Pompeii. You could actually see 2,000-year-old artwork, frescoes, and tiles, mosaic tiles, and such. Some pieces have been taken to museums, but there are still a few pieces that's available for tours. There you can see their amphitheater still intact. All of this was buried beneath the ash and pumice. I don't know what that round thing is. And check it out. Don't go outside this morning, which is probably the same thing that they said 2,000 years ago. Brits are given health alerts as gas cloud spews out of by volcanic eruption in Iceland. It tipped to fill skies across the UK with some very frightening potential side effects. So, if you are in the United Kingdom and you suffer from any type of breathing difficulties and such, anyway, get those face masks out. I know you probably still got some. Wear your face mask just as a precaution because the air is really bad and it may get worse. So, anyway, you guys, I am done. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to the moderators for keeping this a safe space. Oh, let me find that while I'm thinking about it. I'll find that video by Alicia Kay so you can see. This may have been something that bothered a few people. So even though I did not really care to talk about it, she's done a great job of explaining it. So, oh gosh, I can't remember what day that was. Let me see. I got to look at the titles. Nope, I think I'm going too far. Okay, I don't know which one it is, and I'm looking at all of the titles, and I don't know which one it is. So if I can figure it out, I'll put it on the community tab. I don't know which one it is. Hmm. Sorry about that. Also, again, I'm done, but if you're going to stick around for a minute, let me see if I can find that TikTok that I was looking for earlier. I'm going to see if I can find it. Um, mm, mm, mm. Now, I don't know how you can find stuff that you liked on the TikTok. I don't know how their menu works because I don't use it that much. It's very rare for me to go over to TikTok. But I'll see if I can find it. God, there go that hateful woman again. She's so evil. For what? You know, for as much as I say about the royal family, I don't hate anybody in that family. And I certainly don't make up stuff about them. Now, I do, you know, little parodies here and there, but I don't hate any of those people. And I was genuinely worried about Kate. I was genuinely worried about her. I thought they had done something to her. You know, what if one day I've never had a chance to see her mouth askew? You know what I'm saying? What if one day I didn't have the opportunity to see her mouth askew? I would be devastated. Okay, let me try something else. I think this might work because this is what I did earlier and I found it. Oh, I got it. I got it. So this is what I'm going to do. I got to send this. Wait, what did I just do? Okay, I got it. My Twitter and then take it from uh, which is what I thought I did earlier. Wait, is this it? Okay. Okay, this is so good. You're gonna love this. So give me a second here. I'm gonna go back to that slide for reference, and then you could hear Jasmine. Okay. There we go. So Jasmine is the one on the right, and that one on the left side, I don't know what her name is, and I don't like her anyway, so I'm not even gonna worry about it because she was being very, very rude about the Sussexes, about Harry in particular. Okay, 1 second, you guys. Here we go. It's buffering. Oh, is it battery bad on this thing? Maybe that's what it is. I think my battery has gone out. Hold on a second. Mm, okay, let me. Oh no, that's the wrong plug. All right. Hold on, y'all. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for watching Royal Sussex. All right.
All I will say is not that Harry is a particularly emotional person in any event. I mean, that's just the fact. All I will say is everything that you just regurgitated is the stuff that I've read in the Daily Mail and the right-wing press. Is absolutely ridiculous. And it shows that you've been spoon-fed this narrative and you are now believing it. So, I mean, you've drunk the Kool-Aid, what can I say? Come on, that's really, really quite rude, actually. For one that actually doesn't... It really is. You're being really rude about a couple of people that you've never met in your life, and you are making all these assumptions about them by the briefings that have come from the palace. None of us know these people. Listen, I'm not a Harry and Meghan stan, and because I support what Harry and Meghan are doing doesn't mean that I don't support the royal family. I'm all for harmonious living. This is a dysfunctional family, like most families, and there's been way back. Every time we're on telly pitting them against each other, we are not helping. Okay, well, there.
Okay. She said you're making assumptions about people you never met. Now, Jasmine, who is on the right side, she said, I'm not a Harry and Meghan stan, but blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you earlier. Now, I have no idea when this Jeremy, what's his name? Jeremy River? No, Jeremy. What the heck is his name? I didn't forgot the man's name, but whatever it is, I don't remember when this one was recorded. But as per usual, our Jasmine has stood up for the Sussexes. Jeremy Vine, thank you. I could not think of that name for nothing. Now, just for reference, let me find my other Jasmine. It sounds much better. That one was kind of tin can sounding, but let's go with this one, shall we?
We either love to be on one side or your family, a really polarising subject that we either love to be on one side or the other of. And I think it's really unfair for us to make decisions about what they should be doing and whether they should be coming back. They're a family. If they want them to come back and they decide to spend time with their grandma, then they should do. And the idea that you're calling it could be a distraction and Prince Charles is worried. Well, the distraction proves that beside the Queen, Harry and Meghan are the most popular royals. And so basically,
I think they're the most
you only need to look at
controversial.
today's front pages and the whole weekend to see that Harry and Meghan, if they can splash a picture of Harry and Meghan anywhere with a headline, they will do it. So I'm a producer and I have also worked for Netflix. So I will say this to you. We all say that Harry and Meghan want their privacy, but they want to be in the public eye. They just didn't want to be bullied, abused and harassed by the press. They didn't say that they were never going to come out again and do things on their own terms.
No, they are for privacy.
Shining a light on the Invictus Games, heroes and veterans who should have a light shone on them.
You cannot be a royal and get rich, and Prince Andrew's tried to do that, and it's disastrous. At least they've said we divorce the royal family and we'll get rich separately.
Are you really holding them to different standards than the rest of the royal family? Because we have a whole list that we could bring up of Fergie, Andrew and all the rest of them who have tried to use their royal connections to get meetings and business deals for people outside of this country with our government. That you're holding them to completely different standards.
Let's have some calls.
People love them. They're popular.
That's very interesting, yeah.
Hey, girl, sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
That's what I be wanting to say to Jeremy Vine sometimes. Sit down. Jeremy Vine always act like he's so confused and don't understand and doing all that whataboutisms and stuff like that. He know he need to sit up. 2.5 hours? I did not know that I've been on here for 2.5 hours. I looked a little while ago. I said, "Oh, an hour and 25 minutes. That's odd." And now it's almost 2.5 hours. What in the world did we talk about for 2.5 hours? Oh well, it is what it is. You guys, I cannot find the but I'll look for it later. That I just it seemed like it should be there and I don't see it, but I'll find it. Let me see. Anyway, are we good? Are we good? I think so. Anyway, has anybody heard from um VS Speaks Royal? I know she was under the weather and she's healing, recovering. I was so surprised. I didn't realize she had been sick. But anyway, I don't know if she's been back on or not. Oh, she removed it? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't understand for the life of me why I couldn't see it, but okay. It might have been a what do you call it? A conflict, a copyright. Oh, Antonio hasn't been on? I didn't realize that either. Oh my goodness, I'm missing everything, aren't I? Yeah. Well, I've been running errands and stuff and doing some things I needed to do during the day. And so I've been keeping a bit busy. And of course, with the tour and all, I have missed out on a whole lot of stuff. Well, anyway, I'm glad she's back. I'm glad Antonio's back as well. It's good. Well, it's all right, and we're having fun. We gotta get right back to where we started from. Love is good. Love could be fun. We gotta get right back to where we started from. I remember the day, that sunny day. I love that song, especially when they have that little break beat. Love that song. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, then I'm going to go for real this time. I can't think of anything else I wanted to share. I can't believe 2.5 hours has come and gone just that fast. Good night, Mary H. Thank you, or good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I I'm very disappointed with William because I bought into that they're so close thing that they used to say. And as for Kate, well, yeah. Yeah, the four of them, they have behaved really badly. They have behaved in a very awful way. And you know, um even for the Markle family, it would be so much better if they just stopped. The professor, he had said something the other day that that he didn't want anyone doing apologies. Well, I get that. I get that. And sometimes I think an apology can be a waste of time. But it's never too late to do the right thing. It's never too late to do better. And the same way they send all types of signals with what they wear and all that kind of nonsense, you could also send the signal that I was wronged and I want to make things right. You can do that without saying it out loud. You can always do that without saying it out loud. Through your gestures and such, you can make things right. So if there's anyone from that vicious, tawdry, screwed up royal family listening right now, um, it's not too late to do the right thing, but you need to demonstrate it through your deeds. Because they're hurting themselves worse than they hurting the Sussexes. 5,000 miles is a world away. After a while, hate hurts the person that's hating worse than anybody. It's like a poison. I got some stuff I need to watch. Um, After everything calms down from the tour, right now I'm still like having too much fun with it. But when everything calms down a bit, I got so much stuff I need to catch up on. So much. So many things I need to watch. Yeah, they are doing that. They are saying the quiet parts out loud. Every so often they would say something, but now the drum beat is a little more persistent. And the thing that we have to keep in mind is that when Charles is trying to speak to William, I think that they use the press to do that because if he tried to speak to William himself, he'd probably get hung up on, or William would probably just walk away and hop in his 8 million-pound helicopter and go home. But like when they were saying that Kate was lazy, I believe that that was coming from Buckingham Palace. I believe it was coming from the Queen. I don't believe the Queen just flat out said, handle it. But I think that the courtiers that were closest to the Queen understood that something needed to be done. So they were trying to use the press to get her to work or to do something productive before they got married, right? And even after they were married, both Will and Kate still displayed the laziness that they have always done, and they would use the press to try to shame them into doing work. So I believe that there are occasions when they use the press to speak to each other. And in particular, I believe that Charles' easiest and most effective way to get to William is through the press, not directly. Yeah, everything happens for a reason. Well, and the professor, uh, one of those videos, he said that he believes that the people that works for William are doing him a disservice. Well, it really does start with William, but the thing is, if you are just there to work and do William's bidding, then you are doing him a disservice. That's why they were hoping that Harry would stay because Harry is not afraid to say the quiet parts out loud. Harry has a strong sense of fair play. And when he thinks something is inconsistent, when he feels that something is wrong, he will say something. It was very brave of Harry to pursue these lawsuits. And I do believe, because they keep trying to say that Meghan wants him to stop. Are they trying to brief in the papers, sending a signal to Meghan that if you want things to change, you better talk to your husband? Is that what that's for? But Meghan's not a coward, and she also has a strong sense of fair play. And that's why they're so suitable for one another, is because they both believe in fairness. So Meghan is not the one to appeal to where Harry is concerned. I strongly believe that she believes in his cause, which is the reason why he has gone forward instead of dropping it. I believe that's why he has kept going forward, is because she believes in the cause too. It is the only way to ensure their safety in the future, is to call out the press, is to take them to court, because there's nothing that says the press will ever leave them alone. They're not going to ever leave them alone. So the best thing that you can do is name it and shame it, as opposed to cowering in the corner and hoping that they just leave you alone. Life doesn't work like that, especially not where the press is concerned. I remember Oprah's words about Diana before Diana died. When she interviewed Fergie, Oprah said that the press tried to kill Diana. And she repeated it over and over again because she believed it to be true. I mean, it is one of those expressions that people just say, but she said it with so much conviction. She said they tried to kill her. And she repeated it. So Oprah knows what's at stake, and she's dealt with the tabloids and survived it. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. They switch tactics constantly. One minute they say Harry is upset. Now they say Meghan doesn't support what he is doing. Yeah, they do. They do switch tactics. But I do believe that they have been sending all kind of signals to Montecito via the press. Um, okay. I think the press is trying to make it seem like Meghan isn't agreeing with Harry. Okay, that part right there, I believe that to be true, in that they're trying to sell papers. But I think that there's a dual purpose. The other purpose is, at least there's a possibility that there's a dual purpose, and that is they're hoping that she will convince him to drop it. I don't think that there's anything in Meghan's spirit that will ever come between Harry and his convictions. I just don't think that she's that person, and I don't think that he would accept that. Those are two people that have their convictions, and they married each other because of it. And I believe that the life of service is something that is important to both of them, just as important as anything else aside from their children and, Mama Doria And of course, Harry and his biological father. Those people are still in, well, Charles is still very important to him. Um, and Harry probably sees his father as a victim as anyone else is. He sees his brother as a victim of this system. But because they're victims, do not mean that they can walk all over you. And because they are a victim of the system, does not mean you accept hostility, hostile acts from them. Especially where children are concerned, because they had to bury their unborn child. That would definitely have an effect on anyone. I mean, when you take something like that from a person, that's as personal as it gets. That is as personal as it gets. What we saw in Colombia and what we saw in Nigeria, right? And of course, even while they were within the institution on these tours, Harry said that he wanted a partner that he could do this work and be on an equal footing with his brother. Now, of course, that would only last until his brother becomes king. But at the time, Harry had envisioned this world where he and Meghan could do their thing, William and Kitty could do their thing, and it would have been a beautiful thing. But jealousy entered, and that's where it all falls apart. It was the jealousy. And even today, I'm not making this up, even today, I was thinking to myself, what inside of William made it okay for him to plot against his brother? No matter what you think of Meghan, that is his wife. And his brother is his blood relations. How did things get so terrible that you plot against your brother? It'd be so different if William was the second born and Harry was getting everything for nothing. But the shoe is on the other foot. William is the firstborn and he gets everything for nothing. All he has to do is show up. And if people don't read that as jealousy, then they're not looking. They're not paying attention. They're trying to say Harry is jealous because he's not getting the life that he never wanted in the first place. So he's got to be jealous of William. He's going to be king. After all, William's going to be king. I keep hearing people say that and type that and all that kind of stuff. And those people on GB News and such, they want to paint this image of Harry being so jealous. Harry is brilliant. And he's got the family that he's always wanted. Where is the downside in his life? They make it up. There is no downside. Except not having a relationship with his father. I'm sure that that's, the only downside that I could think of. Still important to him, in spite of everything. You could be in a long-term relationship and feel as lonely as anybody if you and your partner have nothing in common. That's a sad place to be. And for a lot of people, that complements the relationship being opposites, but it helps to have something in common. And Harry has someone special that loves service, brilliant at it, his equal when it comes to philanthropy. And he waited a long time for it. And his brother tried to deny him of that, tried to take it away from him. And he told the people that worked for him to tear it down. He's not allowed to be happy. And he's still got to shave that beard. Yeah, I was thinking about that today. What kind of person would do that to his own brother? With the likes of Jason, Christian, Simon, Woo Woo. And the fact that they could have been badly hurt, injured, or worse did not seem to bother him or his father, taking their security away. Taking their security away because of something that William started with the leaking and briefing. They want to take Harry's security away because he won't drop the matter of an employee of the firm plotting against him and his family, because he won't accept the fact that they're plotting against him and his family. He won't accept that. He won't look the other way. He won't drop it. Oh, well, he did show up at the hospital with him, didn't he? Yeah. William has his favorites amongst staff and otherwise, and maybe the only thing that has kept him reasonably close to sane is the fact that he has been able to do the things that he wants to do in spite of his role. Um yeah. He would have a better chance at using the emotional blackmail, but Harry has a family now. Harry has a family now, and whatever um the plan is, I mean, the fact that Harry made a plan, he got over there and got out very fast. His father offers him a place to stay, and he stays at a hotel instead. That's somebody who is sticking to the plan. That is somebody who is sticking to their principles, I think. Jealous, insecure person with low self-esteem. Yeah. Well, one thing is for sure is that in order for things to work, not only is it essential to have security back, but the papers are going to have to uh, stop these attacks because they're stirring up all kind of hostility. And there is a direct relation between the hostility and the headlines in the paper. The headlines have given a mountain of talking points to people during the tour of Colombia. They have given people ammunition to go into social media and to go after them. Something has to be done about that if there was ever any hope. They don't even have to do anything, for the institution. They have their patronages over there, and it would help Charles' image for them to be seen as a family. I don't know how they think this rejection is supposed to work when the majority of the people in the Commonwealth are young, and the majority of those young people side with the Sussexes. And then even within the realms, Scotland, mostly Sussex, Wales, I don't know and don't really care. England, when you get out to the rural areas and such, that's where all of the stuff was going down a couple of weeks ago. Not in London, but in other towns. So even if they never did anything for that institution again, Harry has made it a point to not mention his father while he's doing his work on tour and such. He does not mention his family. He's given speech after speech, and they were completely omitted from the speeches. That's why I said Harry is sticking to his principles, and he is not deviating. He's offering them the opportunity to make things right. I don't think that has ever been taken off the table. But if you're going to do right, if you want to make things right, you got to make things right. I don't think that he's in the mood for compromising. Not on that. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Especially after what happened to his mother, they cannot be trusted. They cannot be trusted. Like that story about what was the king that said, "Will anybody rid me of this nuisance or whatever?" What king was that? Will anybody rid me of my troubles? The king that said, "Will anybody rid me of this?" Oh gosh. Uh oh gosh, I can't remember the name of that king. Will nobody rid me? Okay. Henry II. I think it was Henry II. Oh, was it Henry III or second? Will nobody rid okay, will no one rid me of this troublesome priest? Henry exploded and said, to have uttered the words, "Will no one rid me of this troublesome priest?" Even the barons were uncomfortable with this decision, which was followed up with charges of embezzlement. And Beckett was summoned to Northampton to answer for his crimes, right? And because of their loyalty to the king, they got rid of Beckett. Thomas Beckett. And because of the Thomas Beckett, it says British history in depth, Beckett, the church, and King Henry II. I do believe it was Henry II. Oh, I see. That's what you got there too, Henry II. Hazel says Henry II. Y'all, Hazel knows a lot of history. Hazel knows a lot of history. There's a few of y'all that are very sharp. I'm always impressed. Yeah, and as history goes, you don't want to be staying at one of them castles and have somebody utter the words, "Will anyone rid me of this troublesome philanthropist?" Yeah, see there? Because he wouldn't go along with a lie. Yeah. He would not go along with a lie. You know, I almost never say this most days, but please make sure you hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, even if you hate watching, please make sure you do subscribe to Royal Sussex. So that way you'll know where to go for the latest in royal news and commentary and old commercial jingles and such. Yeah, they wanted Harry to go along with their, and gosh, who was it that said? I was, oh gosh, I'm trying to think. I think I was listening to someone on Spaces, maybe, and they were saying that Harry and Meghan were supposed to keep quiet while all of these accusations were coming from these tabloids, that they was just supposed to take it. And Charles, a profile in courage, if I've never seen one, said, well, after all, we've all been through it. My darling boy, it's a suicide mission. We've all been through it. And what did Harry say? Yeah, but that doesn't make sense. And it really doesn't make sense. Just because that's the way things had been all that time doesn't mean that it should stay that way. I mean, they used to send children as criminals to Australia, the penal colony, but in the past, but that don't mean that it's okay to do it now. Yeah, whatever happened this year, and that's why I talked about it so much, is because I just did not want to not talk about it. I didn't want it to just fade away because there was a story there. There was a story there. All of that happened since December the 28th with that rush trip to the hospital that the press refuses to talk about. All of these things tie in together. Mm. Made that mistake. Harry always told them he would always protect his wife and child, and they pushed him too far. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, I still think back to that day when, what was it, 4 or 5 of the Royal Rota, for no reason, exclaimed over and over again that, what did they say? They said that his absence had nothing to do with Kingston. But the only thing is, nobody asked you in the first place. No one asked the question. And you're in this very methodical, organized manner. All of the talking heads that are considered to be credible by God knows who made it very clear that that had nothing to do with it, as though someone was pressing them for the answer, as though they were trying to preempt some type of news or some type of rumor. And at that point, that was panic. That was panic. Someone panicked when that happened. And everything that you all are saying, everything that I'm saying, they were talking about that in Spaces a while ago. They were talking about that in Spaces. So it's not just a handful of people that have given this some thought. There's a lot of people. And the only way to stop it was cancer. The only way to shut people up before a larger media got involved was to say cancer. And that shut it all down, at least the public debate. Yep, that shut down any public debate. Was just those words. They found cancer, or no, cancer had been present. It was believed. It was believed that cancer was present, and that shut everything down. All the jokes and everything. Yeah, yeah. There was all of that bizarre stuff, trying to get them to change the rules. You know, if the Queen had not died in Scotland, we wouldn't even have a death certificate. There would be no death certificate for Queen Elizabeth had she not died in Scotland. But in Scotland, it's a matter of public record, so that's the only reason why we got one. Ooh, sister. Heller, just like they panicked with the bullying claims to preempt the Oprah Winfrey interview. Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. Same thing, same flavor. Somebody panicked. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that they thought that the crown was going to humanize them to the point where everybody was going to just I don't know, accept Camilla and see Charles as not such a bad person. It didn't work. It didn't work. When they overplayed their hand when they did the Ghost of Diana, they overplayed their hand with the Ghost of Diana. All of a sudden, it turned into some type of ghost tale that really it was too much. It was too much. And they tried to make William look as though he was this unwilling accomplice of Harry's, when the truth is, you want to know what the truth is? I'm going to show you what the truth is. This is the truth. You're trying to make William and Kate seem warm and so full of integrity, but that's who they are. Is what you see right there. That's who they are. Two very angry, disappointing people. That's the public face of it. I have never seen young girls gravitate toward Kate ever. I'm talking about high school girls, girls of that age when they're trying to figure out what they want to do with life. They don't gravitate toward Kate. What would they be leaning into? Being idle and selfish? There's no there. What would they be leaning toward? Nothing. 20 years around that family, and all they talk about is your hair and I would say clothes, but I'm trying to figure out who does that. Well, they talk about her hair, and they talked about how regal she looked. Yeah. And of course, the most appreciation from the institution is the fact that she doesn't say anything. She has no voice. And they were desperate when they tried to make her into Meghan. That was a sign of desperation right there. When they tried to pass her off as some corporate board member, or even worse, some corporation CEO leader or something like. At least they tried to get her to appear that way. Really? Really? Okay. It's I don't think she has any children. And wasn't that her first marriage? You know, I think that was her first marriage. And she used to date that other guy, the one who said that they would go skinny dipping in the Queen's swimming pool, and that they were doing some of Uncle Gary's baking soda at Buckingham Palace, right? The one who ratted out about the goats and all that. So for a young woman, it's like, I she's it's probably not too late for her to start a family if she wants to, but maybe she just doesn't want that. But if she did, you know what I'm saying? She would have to get married soon. And she'd be starting a family at what, 45 years old? I really feel for her. I really feel for her. It almost seems like she was married to him to keep him close to the family, to to make to make an excuse for him to be close, maybe. I don't know. I really feel for her though, because I feel, I'm speaking about Thomas Kingston's wife, lady, whatever her name is. It's like, where is her happiness? How does her happiness figure into these things? No children and had an open marriage, allegedly. Yeah, that poor girl. And she's so attractive. She's a very attractive young lady, still young, very attractive. I mean, they have some, you know, less than appealing people in that family, but she's not one of them. They made a very attractive couple. Oh, that's a good question. Well, she wasn't their only child. There's someone else, though, right? Oh, okay. That poor girl. I feel so sorry for her. It just seems like she I don't know. I mean, it's not really fair to speculate about things, but maybe I guess I'm trying to say maybe a family, maybe children just were not in the cards for her. Yeah, that's true, Adrian. They marry for image. Oh, and poor Diana, lamented, beautiful Diana, treated like some type of farm animal. Someone declaring her virtue before she was married, and then she was selected. And oh God, I think about that and I feel horrible for her. The other day I was talking about Diana and the way she changed people's perceptions about HIV and AIDS. That was she made life bearable for a lot of people that were estranged from their families, a lot of people who were just frightened. She made life so much better for so many people. All of her charity and such. I know, Heather, that was just, oh, that's awful. And some members of her family are equally responsible. And but you know what? Because of the way Diana was treated, it's not easy to find people to marry into that family now. It's not easy. if Harry was not the person that he is, there's no way that he would have been able to marry up the way he did. And he did marry up. He didn't marry a Stepford wife. Harry's unique personality is what saved him from that family curse. Because they could not find anybody for William. I don't care what they say. Nobody wanted to marry William. They needed somebody needy and desperate and seeking some type of social status. And that's what they came up with. And then he broke up with her so that people would know that he was still available and on the market and in search of an aristocratic wife. And what did he get? Crickets. And so he had to settle. He had to settle. Now, if that ain't enough to make you go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, I don't know what would. Yeah, Harry married up. He did. He married up. And it's really bad that you have to make up stuff about Meghan to try to make her seem like she's a terrible person because they just could not find anything. There was nothing there, nothing at all. They couldn't find a thing. The only thing that they could really say is that, well, she is an actress, but an actress today is very different from an actress 100 years ago or 100 years before that. By the time you leave high school, everybody's done some kind of theater. Yeah, holes in his shoes, leaving eating with his belongings in a garbage bag, a bin liner. But I think that the sheer neglect, part of it is just because Charles is awful, but the other part of it is the connection between this monster and Charles. Whatever resentment and mistreatment that they had been of Harry all these years, I don't doubt that that monster had something to do with it. I don't doubt that that monster had something to do with it. She literally, and not that it took much encouragement, but she played a role in the mistreatment of Harry and his brother, just like she played her role where Diana is concerned. A lot of that was between the co-conspirators of those two people, Camilla and Charles, co-conspirators. Because she's an actress and she's a Hollywood actress. She always get what she wants. Uh, uh, and she took her arm and she just uh. Who would have believed that that would be a talking point? Okay, you guys, we're going into 3.5 hours. I'm going to go. Love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget the Lady Sussex will be on tomorrow. Always looking forward to my Sunday service with Charles, George, and the Lady Sussex. So I'll be looking forward to that. And unfortunately, Celibacy was not on this week. Oh gosh, I love Celibacy. So funny. Oh, you're welcome, Sonia Johnson. Thank you. Is that the one that was? Is that the one that fell out the window? Didn't somebody fall out of a window? Let me see. Or did she have cancer? Let me see. Okay. Well, let's do some homework. Kanga Lady Tryon. God, that sounds like something from a sci-fi movie. Lady Tryon. Yeah, ain't that something? Just disappeared. Boy, they can make people disappear. Okay, you guys, love you. I'm not gonna do the thing tonight. I'm gonna just go. But I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.